Hello, my name is Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, here to provide an update for January 15th, 2021. Thursday night, last night, the Western Wyoming Community College Board of Trustees met. A bit of time focused on the pending start of the spring semester. According to the academic calendar, all full semester courses will start virtually on January 25th. They're buying themselves some wiggle room and just some time for extra preparation when it comes to the coronavirus. The transition to in-person, on-campus instruction will begin on February 15th. Something that's been in the works for a while and actually will just be continued as we go forward would be testing available for students. Mustang athletes and those who live in the dorms will be tested on a regular basis. When it comes to athletes, they'll be tested at least once a week, though it was noted that there could be a scenario where there's a game at the beginning of the week, there's the middle of the week practice, and then there might be a game that Saturday. So potentially there might be a case where a Mustang might have gone through 3 of those nasal swab tests. Western staff expressed their pleasure that that results are coming back in a pretty timely manner, about 48 hours. In some cases, a negative, clear test result is required for them to be able to participate in some of the games, like get on the bus. And that standard's being applied to teams that are visiting as well, to as best we can protect and ensure people's safety. Those who live in the residence halls, they'll be tested on a bi-weekly basis, so every other week. Salaries related to new positions also drew attention at the meeting last night. In public comments, it was noted that typically the salaries are included in the informational packet that's released prior to the meeting. That's information that is supposed to be available to the public. But the most recent packet did not include that. The board explained that they have new legal counsel, and it was just recommended that, as part of the general practices, they not include those salaries. Multiple people objected to that, including I was one of those people that encouraged the board to reconsider this decision. When it comes to some of the new chair positions that the board passed, all unanimously last night. Carlton DeWick was named the new chair of the School of Manufacturing and Industrial Technology. His 11-month contract comes with a salary of $70,960. Beth Gard was named to the chair of the School of Business and Computer Technology position. 11-month contract with her comes with the salary of $70,960, same amount. And then Sarah Pauley was approved to fill the position of chair of the School of Math and Science. Her 11-month contract comes with a salary of $77,500. It was also noted that they conducted an in-house search, and they were very happy that they were able to find such experienced, quality, hardworking people already on staff that they could elevate into these positions, and that they know will continue to do Western proud. Spending just a little bit more time on the coronavirus. Today, Johns Hopkins University of Medicine notes that globally we've surpassed 2 million deaths related to the coronavirus. We talked about that earlier this week. That includes 391,624 people who died of the coronavirus in the United States. In Wyoming, we're at 1,885 active cases, according to the Wyoming Department of Health. That's a drop of 167 compared to Thursday. Just talking about the range, Sweetwater County had the highest number of active cases with 273 this past Friday. Sweetwater County had 98. Going back to the U.S. number, we're on track to have recorded at least 400,000 COVID-19 related deaths by the inauguration, January 20th. I believe it was the University of Washington that a couple months ago had actually made that prediction that would be roughly where they're at. I remember being shocked at the time and hopeful that wouldn't be the case, but their models been pretty close on. And they do allow a little bit of ranging depending on what other steps are in place, whether how universal is mask wearing, are some of the health mandates being loosened or tightened. Where are we at in terms of the rollout of the vaccines that are available? Just looking ahead, the University of Washington's current projection is by May 1st, there will be 566,720 COVID-19 deaths in the United States. It gets a little bit better if the vaccine rollout does better, more people wear masks, health mandates are obeyed and kept at the same rate. It gets higher if the opposite of those things happen. And now that I've talked about such wonderful news, I want to talk about our media consumption in general. If you've gotten this far, that probably tells me that you spend a little bit more time on these things. According to a global survey from 2019 hosted by Hootsuite and We Are Social, a survey of 40 countries, the global average is that people are spending 6 hours and 42 minutes online each day. Factor it out over a year, that's about 100 days. That's more than 25% of each year spent focused on screens. And honestly, that being 2019, it's probably a little bit higher now that we're still in the midst of the pandemic and a lot of people are working virtually or working remotely, virtually, or limiting more of their trips outside, looking for more online entertainment as opposed to in-person activities. And one of the things that surprised me from this 2019 report is that actually the U.S. was a bit below the average. We are at an average of 6 hours, 31 minutes. And just let me just quickly run down the countries. At the extreme end, the Philippines were averaging 10 hours and 2 minutes a day, followed by Brazil, Thailand, Colombia, Indonesia, South Africa, Argentina, Malaysia, Mexico. They averaged about 8 hours, 1 minute. United Arab Emirates, Egypt, India, Taiwan, Turkey, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, Vietnam, and that's what right there is where we hit the average line where you have 6 hours, 42 minutes. Portugal, the U.S., like I said, 6 hours, 31 minutes. Russia, Hong Kong, Italy, Poland, Sweden, New Zealand, Ireland, China, Canada, 5 hours and 51 minutes average to our neighbors to the north. United Kingdom, Denmark, Spain, South Korea, Australia, then Austria, convenient. Belgium, Switzerland, the Netherlands, France, Germany, and at the bottom of the list, Japan with an average of 3 hours, 45 minutes a day. There's a lot of heavy news out there right now, whether it's politics, health, even pop culture. There are some things that are shaking things up. And my advice the last couple of days, and it's generally been out there, but I've been stressing a little bit more recently, is that, there are times where you can change channel. You can just power off the screen. You can walk away. You can disengage in some of the conversations that are taking a toll. I stress it's important to be informed, to be engaged in what's going on, to be vetting your sources, and to know that you're making decisions based on quality information. But you shouldn't be overloading yourself, watching stuff to the point where you're hurting your health. Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. There's some times where you need to unplug. And I want to give you some options to do so. I just want to say offer my personal thanks to the cities of Rock Springs and Green River rec departments. Both those entities have produced jam-packed activities guide for the winter/spring. There's lots of stuff going on, some of which you've found in the Rocket Miner, and I'm going to preview some upcoming stories, but I'm focusing a little bit more on the Rock Springs Civic Center, I'll admit today, which is the home of the True Golf Simulator. That's something that's a recent addition where doesn't matter your quality level of play, you can virtually put in and play golf courses from around the world. With a cost that's cheaper if you're a member or have a membership as opposed to if you're just walking in off the street. And at the golf simulator, if you got a membership at the White Mountain Golf Course, same thing. Those who maybe not have gotten a chance to kick into that, but want to try it, and you also are a little bit competitive, there will be a simulator winter tournament that begins on. The registration begins this following Monday, the 18th. The event itself will be. People have to register by February 14th. The idea is that you'll get to pit your number against hopefully your low number against others as they play the Torrey Pines Golf Course in San Diego, California, without having to get in your car or go through security or airport or pay for all that gas. There's also an off-season golf clinic for those who want to polish up their skills. It'll take a little bit of advantage of the simulator, and also just be taking advantage of exploring the space, so to speak, in the Civic Center gym. That will run from February 23rd to March 11th. They stress that this 3-week course is for people of all skill levels, so from pro to people like me. I prefer the caddy. Something else that I'd also want to point out at the Civic Center are the make and take classes. Those are usually typically hosted once a month, where the class sizes are limited to 25 people, but you go in and you work on a craft. And know multiple people have gone that, and they have just dashing, unique stuff that they took out. The next class, they're going to be making Valentine gnomes on February 11th. Registration opens 3 weeks in advance, so you could register now. And upcoming projects will include an egg topiary on March 25th, a farmhouse wreath on April 15th, and spring terrarium on May 6th. Cost is $25 per participant. We already mentioned its class is only limited to 25 people. You can register in person at the Civic Center or online with a card, probably credit card, debit card, at rswy.net. That's the Rock Springs city website. They say just search for make and take. That's like shake and bake. And then there's some who... like I said, if golf or crafts isn't for you, might I suggest a story. The Sweetwater County Library System has set up a Dial a Story service where each month people will be able to select from 10 different stories. It's free. All you have to do is just dial the number. And those numbers are 307-872-3201 or 307-352-6660. Its numbers are prepared for a variety of age groups, and if you really like a story, you can repeat it as many times as you want. Or if you don't like it, you got several other options. The goal is that the library staff, who are the ones reading aloud these stories, will be rotating these stories. So if you have a kid who devours all these stories, just wait a little bit longer and there'll be another set coming up. And also, they're hopeful that maybe some members from the community would be willing to add to the stories each month and also provide voices. As part of this ongoing project, they really do hope that they'll be able to expand it as the year goes on. Such as, and this isn't available now, but they're hoping to do soon, something for some stories in Spanish, and just an even wider number of stories for ages than what they currently have. It's an ambitious project. I wish them great luck. I'm a firm believer in the power of storytelling, and the more that we can teach kids to listen to other stories and better tell their own, those are tools that serve people well. Like I said, you don't have to spend all your time glued to screens. Moderation and self-control. It's something that many people have to work on a daily basis. I certainly do. It's my job to stare at the black hole of news every day, and after doing it for all these years, it takes a taxing effect on me and the rest of the staff. Just know when it's time to close the laptop, leave the phone behind, and maybe reach out to a friend. Go for a walk. There are lots of healthy ways to unplug. This has been Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, wishing you a good day and a safe tomorrow. Bye.